Next up, let's talk about the hybrid hunter crankbait that you got there. And I think we have some video queued up, so we'll have the editors ready to play that when we get to it. But yeah, let's go over a little bit of the features of the bait, and then when you might use it, or situational stuff where you see it coming into play.
All right. Yeah, we came out.
You have one
with
there you can
this
show
bait.
us by chance, or? Sorry.
Yeah, I've got all kinds of them. I don't have very many of them. I've been fishing them a lot, so I just got these. And they don't even have hooks on them. I mean, like, I'm literally having to put hooks on them and stuff. This is like from my my own little collection. I got one that I was throwing the other day, and it's still got like grass and stuff on it.
I like
But yeah, so there's a lot to this bait, and a lot of people don't know the history about it. But I ended up kind of probably being the first person to ever throw this bait in the U.S. like 10, 12 years ago. And so I don't want to get into all that because it's a long story, but it's been around, but you can't get any of them anymore. And so with Strike King and everything, we managed to get the mold, you know, and everything's all up to standards and stuff. So we got the mold, and now we're making them. And this was like a underground bait. I mean, this was like a true underground. Trying to get on, you know, somewhere to go find one of these was basically impossible. I'm not gonna lie, we have hoarded a lot of them in a couple guys' garages over the years. So I mean, they were hard to find, but we ended up coming out with it, and we changed up the colors because colors really matter on this bait because of what it does and how it moves through the water. And if y'all want me to get into that right now, y'all want me
Yeah,
to?
talk about that. Maybe you can show the bait too, and you're kind of talking about it too. But we'll throw some stuff on video. Maybe just have one in your hand to kind of show the guys. And
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is what it looks like, and the difference is this is I really don't ever want to call it a crankbait because it's gonna get pigeonholed into a crankbait, but it's not really a crankbait, to be honest with you. It just looks like one, but it's a fairly big bait. It's loud as can be. I think y'all can hear that. So it's probably the loudest, if we'll just call it a crankbait right now, it's probably the loudest crankbait you'll ever hear, right? It's probably the most buoyant crankbait you'll ever see. This thing floats like crazy, which helps in what it does. Now it looks kind of big and fat or whatever, right? But it's flat-sided, okay, which is huge. So most crankbaits, like the smaller crankbaits, almost none of them are flat-sided unless you get an actual flat-sided crankbait. And usually most of them are real skinny and thin, but this isn't. So what this does is it allows it to move through most crankbaits move through the water like that. So when you pull on them, they tend to go down. This one with that bill tends to, when it goes down in a horizontal line. So it's not digging, which is good for coming through cover and grass. Most crankbaits want to dig into that cover. This one wants to just ease down into that cover, and when you stop it, it wants to float up because it's so buoyant. And so which is great. So if you're fishing grass and you got this mat of grass, and I'll say it a mat underneath the water, as this comes down there and you hit the grass, right? If you let it come back up and reel on it again, most of them just want to dive right back into it. This one takes forever to go down to the grass again. So now you're being able to move this bait 5, 6, 7, 8 more feet before you might hit grass again, whereas other crankbaits just constantly dig into it. And you're always able to give this bait slack to let it come back up and then work those areas real quick, and it doesn't dive more than 5 foot. So I can literally work this in a foot with my rod tip up, or get it down to 5 foot. And that's kind of the neat thing about it. The other thing is we called it the hybrid hunter for a reason, for 2 reasons. One, like I said, it's kind of a crankbait, but it works a lot more like a jerk bait when you hit stuff. So it's always kind of going in different directions. And it's kind of like a red eye because of how flat it runs through the water. So I kind of make all 3 of those is kind of this one deal. And that's why colors make a difference, is because of the flat side. The flat side, you get this flash, okay? and you can almost see it right here. It's always doing this. It doesn't run like this. It rolls. And so you're always getting this flash in the water. So it kind of picks up characteristics of more of a jerk bait and like a red eye, for the color reasons, is we made more colors like that because those baits tend to get more colors that represent the side of it, and mixing those two colors together. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it does a lot. In the Hunter is this bill, and this thing is designed really uniquely. It's really, really hard to replicate. And here's why. And there's some baits out there that are like that. The faster you reel this thing, the more it hunts. And it doesn't stay very true a lot of times. It's always moving like that. A lot of baits, when you design them like that, they get out here and they want to mess up. Yeah. This one gets out here just enough and then comes back. And so the faster you reel it, the more it hunts. Hence the name Hybrid Hunter. So that's kind of how this bait came to be, I guess, if you will.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, you talked about application.
Yeah.
It works good in the grass and wood and stuff, but man, I've been throwing it for smallmouth. I've thrown it at lakes like Table Rock and these places that are clear, that don't have any grass, and the reason is because I can work this bait so fast that in those clear waters, you always want to work baits really, really fast. You don't want them to get a good look, but this thing's so crazy and so unique in how it runs that, like I said, jerk baits usually work pretty good in clear water. This thing kind of shines at times in some clear water applications.
Nice. Now you've used this obviously for quite a while, and you've caught some pretty big bags on this bait, right? I mean, I don't know if there's some local tournaments, some opens and stuff too, but I know I've heard you caught get some big fish and big bags on this guy, yeah?
Right. So, like I said, I've kind of kept it. There was no reason to kind of let the cat out of the bag for a couple of years. So, I've done pretty good on quite a few tournaments. Led some coasters doing it. I think my biggest bass is a 12.6 on it on Toledo Bend. Like I said, it's been kind of underground. People know about it. They just can't get any. So we've kind of been, I'm not gonna lie, we've kind of been keeping it to ourselves for a while. But yeah, we've used it. I mean, I've used it this year a lot on, like, I used it down there when I was at the Open on Kissimmee and places. I'll put it to you this way. There's maybe not the Arkansas River, but just about every tournament this year I have thrown one. So.
We saw a little bit of the footage earlier on, but if the editors could throw that up, I'm sure you guys probably want to see that. And then this is available for pre-order. I'm not sure how many colors we have, but did you guys select the colors, since you were mentioning how important color was for this bait? Did you go through there and select like certain Strike King colors that you guys already had specifically for this bait?
Yeah. So we probably did 25 colors just to see how they came out, and we obviously took colors that I had already kind of known that worked really well, and we took those colors. There was a color or two in there that I had designed a long time ago that are in there that had worked. And then we kind of, when we first got them, there weren't a lot of colors that we really truly liked. But I kind of stayed with 4 or 5 of the ones that worked really well. And then others, I'll be honest with you, didn't work that well because a lot of true crankbait colors that we're used to seeing, I'll be honest, like a sexy shad, those don't really shine in these, they just don't, because of how this thing is designed. So a lot more jerkbait colors, a lot more red eye colors are better fit for this thing. Hence, come on, that's like the best red eye color of all time, right? So we took a lot of jerkbait colors. So we got a lot of clear ones, like the Clearwater Minnow, which is probably my favorite. But we got some clear ones, we got some shiny ones, and then we still put in some just good crankbait colors, like colors that still produce in the crankbait, but they have a little bit more color, have some crawfish patterns to them, things like that. So we tried to kind of pick 3 or 4 from each genre, and I think we have 12. I think we have 14 colors, I believe.
It looks like I've got you guys should check out the colors down below on the site underneath the video here. But we've got 12. Looks like right now, and that smooth color is kind of a unique looking kind of color too. I haven't seen that color before.
That's the one I did.
Nice.
Yeah. Appreciate that. I don't know. Makes me feel good about that one. But yeah, that one's like an old school color. That's the one I was catching them on. I'll be on at Amistad in the Coast event a couple years ago. So
where did that name come from? That sounds like a name that a nickname Phil would give you or something like that. Or where'd Smooth come from?
His nicknames for me are probably not allowed on here, but no, I just came up with that one. I don't know. I just liked it. I came up with that one too. The name.
Nice.
So.
Very cool. Well, guys, again, head to the website to check out all those colors and specs more in detail, and pre-order yourself some.
Yeah, I want to check some out. I remember when they first came out, I was telling the guys at Strike Team, like, it's kind of a funky looking bill. What's going on there? But it makes sense now. I've been educated. I'm a big crankbait guy or hybrid guy now, so I'll go check those things out and get them.